Hi, my name is Clifton Schulke and I'm the writer, producer, director of the short film Outbound. Outbound is a science fiction drama about a woman who has taken up her mother's quest to find something that no one has ever found before, a rare natural phenomenon she calls outbound gravity, where the effects of gravity are reversed, which may give her the incredible opportunity to travel to the edge of space and confront a missed opportunity.
Mum? Are you there?
So, where did the idea for Outbound come from? I remember it being a number of years ago, and I remember coming up with this scene in my head where a woman has come to the top of this hill, and she's been looking for this area her whole life, and it's an area where gravity is reversed, like a small field of reversed gravity, and she's able to tether herself to the ground and walk into it and essentially flip upside down and hang upside down in a harness. And essentially the surface of the earth is now like a ceiling that she's hanging from. And I always thought that would be a very cool scene to see. It's something I'd never seen before, so it stuck with me. But of course, that's not enough to create a story around. It needed drama and it needed characters to fill this world. And it took some time, but I finally came up with the idea of Gabby. She's a daughter and she lost her mother some years earlier. And her mother believed in this concept of outbound gravity and has been searching for it her whole life. And after she passed away, her daughter Gabby continues the search to find this area, and she does. And she then uses it to try and get closer to her mother, spiritually try and get closer to her mother. And so when I had that combined with that, the scene that I was talking about, I knew that there was a film there, and so I got straight on to writing the script. And the script didn't take long. I think I got that out in a couple of hours, really. Sat on it for a while, did a couple of drafts, just made it tighter, made it better. And then wasn't too long after that the producer inside of me starts to think, well, how can I make this film? I knew I could cover all the drama stuff quite easily, but I knew it was going to be, it was going to need a lot of visual effects and a lot of special effects, because I didn't want to hold back. I really wanted to show when she crosses over that line and goes into the outbound gravity. I really wanted to see that, and I knew that was going to be expensive, because I knew the only way I could think of doing it was having her with a stunt team and having her on wires that are suspended from a crane, and literally we pick her up and flip her over up in the air, and then in post-production we could remove the wires out and look like she's actually being affected by reverse gravity. So the first thing I did was went looking for examples of other films that may have achieved this, and the first thing I found was the Burberry Open Spaces ad. If you haven't seen this ad, I recommend you get on YouTube and have a look. It is an incredible ad and very inspirational, especially for the story I was trying to tell. Then I was lucky enough to find some behind the scenes footage of how they achieved it, and they did it exactly how I thought I would be able to make my film. They had a massive crane, they had their actors on wires, and then they removed the wires in post-production, so it looked all real, because it was shot for real. But then I started crunching numbers and I realized, well, that is very expensive, and I didn't want to make this film unless I knew I could pull it off. I didn't want to do it any sort of half-baked version of it. So I put it on the shelf for a while. I worked on some other projects, always with it in the back of my mind, because it is a story I really wanted to tell. It actually is my favorite story that I have. Then I come across the video from Felix Baumgartner, where he jumps from the edge of space. It's a Red Bull video, and he jumps from the edge of space. And he had GoPro cameras on his body to film this event. I remember seeing that and thinking, that's just incredible footage. It looked amazing. It did look simplistic in a way that all it was action cams strapped to his body. And it got me thinking, well, why don't I try and do something like that, where my character Gabby in the film was documenting her experiences of trying to find this outbound gravity, and she straps cameras to herself, and when she goes into the outbound gravity for the first time, we cut to those cameras and we see it happen. And I knew that way I could get away with using green screens and having her safely on the ground, potentially building some sort of a rig that would flip her upside down, but all on the ground, nice and safe, and a lot cheaper to make. And when I realized that, I was like, okay, we can make this film now. So I was off and running. It wasn't too long until I was able to pull together the crew and the cast. Everybody that I've worked with, over the last 20 years, they all wanted to help out and jump on. And that came together really quick. And then I went ahead and did location scouting. I looked at several locations. The location we chose to use for where the outbound gravity area is was the Bunya Mountains. It made a lot of sense to film up there. I just loved the natural look of that area, and all the accommodation and catering and everything was right there. And so we filmed there for one weekend, and then we filmed for a second weekend on the sunny coast hinterland around Yandina, around properties of friends of mine. And that's where we captured all the moments between the mother and the daughter in the flashbacks in the film that looks like Super 8 film. And also on that second weekend we filmed in a studio on the sunny coast to do the interview scenes with Elizabeth, who plays Gabby. So casting was really easy on this one. I've worked with Elizabeth before, and I knew that I wanted her to play this character, and she just nailed it. She was great. The issue I had though is I had to cast a younger version of her, and of course that meant I needed to find someone that looked like Elizabeth. And I actually reached out to Elizabeth and I said, do you know anyone that's around the 12 to 15 year old mark that may look like you? And she said, well, believe it or not, I just come off a shoot last night and I met this young girl who was on the film, and I think she actually does look like me. So she sent me through photos, and I realized, oh yeah, she does. She definitely looks like Elizabeth. So I was able to get her contact details and reach out to her and her parents, and luckily she agreed to come on board onto the film. The mother in the film is played by Siobhan O'Shea. I found her through a casting website, and we hit it off. We hit it off great, and she definitely jumped at the opportunity to come on, and I really enjoyed working with her. And in fact, I enjoyed working with all three of the ladies on this film. As for crew, I got to work again with my go-to cinematographer, Peter Sylvester, and he brought some of his crew on board. I again got to collaborate with Joe Hayes on the sound side of things. He's actually a Gladstone local, now residing in Brisbane, but he grew up in Gladstone. And I got to work also with Josh Jett, who did the score, the music for the film. He did an incredible job. He worked really hard on it. We used the movie Interstellar and the music from Interstellar as inspiration for our music in this film, and he's created something very it's very touching to listen to, and I'm so pleased to continue to collaborate with him. And we of course mixed the film at Folklore Sound in Brisbane, which is one of the best sound studios in Australia, and I'm very lucky to have a great relationship with them and continue to collaborate with them as well. And so it's been a great journey. I'm very proud of the final product. It's doing well, and there is an extended version of the story that we're working on in the background. Hopefully we get to make it. But yeah, thank you very much. If you want to reach out and chat to me about anything or have any questions, please do so. You can find me at Film Platter on Facebook. And yeah, I look forward to bringing you more stories. Thanks.